What's going on, legends? Welcome back to another market and trade review session. I apologize for not posting these as frequently as I was. I decided to trade every single day live with the community in April, and I'm pretty much doing the same in May. So quite frankly, by the time I'm done trading, done working, done helping my students, I'm burnt out. I don't want anything to do with trading. So I apologize for that. But today is a bit of a special day because in my opinion, it was the first day we had in May where I was able to actually put some size on and capitalize. We caught a few really nice moves on the upside. And then actually after the reversal, there was really strong momentum to the downside, which we were able to capitalize as well. So I'm going to go through my executions, my trades, how I manage them, all of that good stuff, the setups themselves. And then I'm going to actually do something a little bit different than I've ever done before. And I'm going to do a live brokerage login to Tradify, and I'm going to take a withdrawal on there, and then I'm going to do the same thing for TPT, and I'm going to take 2 withdrawals on there. And what's interesting is I just had the TPT 150K accounts, 5 of them go live yesterday. So this is my first day trading with them, and they're always sending emails and promoting 1-day withdrawals. So we're going to see if they're actually going to accept their withdrawals and how much I'm able to take out of it. So that's going to be really exciting. I've never done something like that. I don't want anyone ever commenting on one of my videos saying this is fake, this is photoshopped, anything, because I'm literally going to log in and show you guys everything. Also, I have no Photoshop skills. I don't have the time and energy to do something like that. So that's how we're going to do it. You're just going to take it for what it is. All right. So first things first, on the day here, when I share my screen, we did about 31K. I took screenshots with the actual time and date in there. These were the Apex accounts, so 5 Apex accounts. And then here's the Take Profit accounts. Again, here's the date and time I took the screenshot. These are the 2 accounts I'm going to take the withdrawals from, clearly, because those are the 2 that are over buffer. I stopped trading on the first 2 early on, stopped trading on the third one after we caught one more trade, and then put the gas on a little bit for these top 2. Those plus the 2 Tradify accounts, which I hit the minimum profit target on, which was about 350, equals about 31K in total. All right, now let's dive into the trades because I'm sure that's what you guys are most interested in. All right, so let's go ahead and start off on the hourly. This is kind of how I actually set up my game plan for today. So if you guys are trading yesterday or the day before, we had a huge breakout move on Tuesday, right? A really nice trending move up pretty much all day. And then yesterday, we just straight consolidated, right? We stayed in this tight range. We just pretty much went sideways the whole day. I think the 15-minute really gives a good picture to that. This was the New York session right here yesterday. So we pretty much just went sideways the entire day in a high squeeze. Barely took any trades yesterday, took 2 scalps, that was it. And then today, overnight, we actually sold off. We broke structure. We tapped into a 1-hour imbalance on the downside. We held and then started to rally up. So this yellow line is where the market opened at 9:30 right here. And I'm going to drop into a 5-minute time frame and show you what I was looking for. Now, action was really, really slow off the rip. We actually opened up right here on this bar. Let me zoom in a little bit more. We opened up on this bar, and I wasn't interested in any trades unless we could take out this little pre-market high area right here and really hold that area and get some momentum where we could take a trade up into previous day highs and supply. We were unable to do that. We swept that high, basically came down, tapped into demand, held that area, and we just chopped back and forth for a long while. Eventually, I realized that Trump was speaking at a Saudi Arabia conference, and that's why price was most likely going sideways. So no trades in this entire area, right? This was a nice range here. We had this high right here. We had news lows down here from PPI, and we just stayed hands off. So what I was looking for to take a trade was a breakout of this area above supply and above this high where we could get into a long. Or if we came down here, swept news lows, got bought up aggressively, I was looking for a move back up to the OP and the hourly level in VWAP right up towards here. Obviously, the first one is what occurred. So I'm going to drop into a 2-minute time frame and show you the exact setup I took. So we broke out here at about 11:02. We actually had displacement, which is what I want to see on a breakout. We had high volume come in. And then I was looking for a retest of supply in that high for a long, and or a little bit of a consolidation where I could get a signal bar and look for a long off of that, which is what we ended up getting. So on the 1 minute, we had a few pause bars. On the 2 minute, it was 2 pause bars, and then we took off. And I grabbed my entry right up here at 364. I put my stop right below those 2 pause bars right down here. And I was targeting my first trim up around 21,400, which was the bottom portion of my supply zone. And then my next target was previous day highs up around 420, right? So I took some off here. This is actually supposed to be yellow. Yellow signifies my trims. So took some off here, let the runners do their thing, and then took the rest off at 420, right? So that was trade number one. After that, it was hands off. We were just chilling. We were waiting to see, are we going to fail this area? Are we going to break down? What's going to happen? And what I ended up doing, I did take a small scalp in here. I didn't include it, but I took a scalp literally from right here. After we held, we were pulling back, holding. I took a small scalp right there, just right up towards here. It was like a 25-point scalp. That was my fault for not including that. It wasn't the best, most magical trade in the world, but got the job done. But the main trade that I took that I wanted to point out was right here when we broke out, we pulled back nicely and we held previous day highs right here, right? Every single time we tried to break below it, we held the EMAs, we held previous day highs, we held previous supply flip demand through this area. So what I did was I scaled it into this position. I took half size right here. My stop was a little bit below this wick. I wanted to give it a little bit of extra space so I didn't get wicked out. So I risked about 17, 18 points on this trade, which was a really good risk to reward. And then what I did is I let price continue and I was looking for a place to really add to this position. So what I ended up doing was just waiting. We started to break out. We pulled back. Then we pulled back and we held again. I added to my position. Once we pulled back right here, held, got bought up aggressively. I added full right there. And then I actually trailed my stop at that point to below this wick, just tighten up my stop a little bit. So something that's really important to note, because when I do my trade reviews, you're going to see that I add to winning positions quite frequently. Every single time I add to a position, I always trail my stop because I'm adding more risk on the table, which means I need to either fully be able to accept the new risk I'm adding and keep my stop where it is, or I need to trail my stop. When I go to trail my stop, I'm always trailing my stop beneath pivot points, never just a random bar. So in this case, I added here. I could either trail my stop beneath this pivot point or this pivot point. In this situation, I trailed it beneath the lower one because I wasn't fully sure if we were going to consolidate a little bit longer before breaking out. So I trailed my stop from down here around 411 to beneath this pivot point around 422. So after I added, I let price ride. Once we took out this high, I took 1/4 of my position off the table. I like to do that whenever we take out a high, just because that's the most likely place for us to reject and reverse. So I took off 1/4. And then once we had this inside bar, we got a nice pause bar. We started to break out. I added back to my position here because now the breakout was much more confirmed and I was looking for continuation. And then again, once I add, I always trail. So in this case, I trailed it beneath those pause bars right here around 455. So now I'm adding, but I'm also trailing. So if I do get stopped out, I'm getting stopped out in profit. From there, I just let the position do its thing. Now we broke out. At this point, we looked really, really good on the 15-minute and the 1 hour time frame, which I'll show you right here. This is how it looked on the 15. It was just a beautiful consolidation over previous day's highs. And this was the breakout bar we were getting. It also looked really good on the hourly, and we had plenty of space on the upside. So going back to the 2-minute, right here, price continued. We pulled back, put in a higher low. And then I took my next trim off on this big green bar right here at about 21,500. That was my next trim target. Again, we put in that higher low. So I trailed my stop once again underneath that pivot right here to protect my capital. We pulled back again, put in another higher low, and then pushed up. And to be completely honest, this exit was completely luck. The only reason I exited right here was because I didn't want to make any more money on my Apex accounts because of the 30% consistency rule. And I just got out there because I'm like, okay, we're getting really overextended. We had a really nice push. So I just happened to get out here. This was one of the luckiest executions ever just because we literally reversed after that. So I got out. I stopped trading on my Apex accounts and then I just focused on my TPT accounts at that point. All right, now this third trade was a precision reversal model. So on the 5-minute, we left a nice imbalance, which is this fair value gap right here on this push up. Once we took out this high, we left this imbalance. And then we broke structure on the 1 and the 2-minute time frame. We inversed that 5-minute imbalance, and then we came back up and retested it perfectly right here. So I started to hunt my short. I could have been more aggressive and entered it a little bit earlier right here and had my stop over the imbalance or over that high if I wanted to. But I just wanted to make sure it was going to reverse because at that time on the 15-minute, it still looked good to go higher, to be honest. I didn't have any key levels up here, anything like that. So I actually anticipated it going higher. but shit happens in the markets. So once we pushed up, we held that. I wanted to see a little bit more confirmation. We tried to push up one more time, and we had a nice bearish engulfing bar right here. That's where I started to look for my entry short. I took it on this bar right after that bearish engulfing, once we took out the low of that bar. So I took this trade off just above pre-market highs around 422, which ended up giving me about a 3.9 hour multiple. Only had to risk 16 points. It doesn't really get that much better than that. And then I just waited. And what I saw was we sold off so aggressively right here. I was actually looking for a bounce play of sorts. This is not really a playbook I would recommend or I teach my students, but we just took out supply, we just broke structure, and we were getting hyper overextended on the 2 minute, the 5 minute, etc. I started to look for a bounce play. So what I saw here was on the 1 minute, we tried to push lower right here. We put in a 1 minute imbalance on this move lower, and we failed to go lower. So I took a nice scalp right here. Once we inversed, we pulled back and held right here. I took a nice scalp right off this bar right here. So I risked about 12 points for 23.24, which in my book, a 2-hour scalp is pretty solid, and it happened in literally, 2 minutes? And then I waited again. Ultimately, at this point, I was actually looking for a move lower. Why was I looking for a move lower? Well, we just broke structure on the 5 minute. We just broke structure on the 15 minute as well. So I was looking for a retracement into one of these imbalances up here. In this case, it was the 15 minute imbalance right here. So I was looking for a nice retracement into the 15 minute imbalance, and then some type of reversal model for me to get short for a move down to VWAP, and then the hourly and the opening print, right? So I was looking at the higher time frame for the short, not the lower time frame. I took my executions off the 2 minute though. So again, I'm going to go back to the 2 minute, and I'm going to show you what I did here. Right, so we tried to go higher, right? We were actually holding previous day's highs. I'm just going to go ahead and delete this because it's getting annoying. We tried to hold previous day highs. We tried to push up one more time. And once we failed that second time trying to go higher, while we were in that 15-minute imbalance, that's where I started to look for my short. I took a little bit of an early entry right here when we started to take out this bar's low, and I had my stop a few points above this high. So I risked about 18 points on this trade, and I was targeting VWAP for my first trim. And then I was targeting the hourly level for my main take profit. So that one ended up being about a 6.3 R. With the trim included and with the ad included, it would be closer to a 4 R multiple trade. So once we actually started to break down and get more confirmation, we were likely to go lower. I trailed my stop above this wicks high. This is super annoying. I trailed my stop above this wicks high right here where that red line is. And then we pushed down, we broke those lows, we pulled back into that 2 minute imbalance. And then once we started selling off again, that's where I added. This ad was actually a little bit further over. It was right here on this bar. I added right there. And then I trailed my stop once again over this wick. Every single time I add, I'm always trailing my stop to reduce my overall risk. Then boom, it was just a nice quick pop down to VWAP, where I went ahead and trimmed 1/3 of my position. We had some good momentum. Volume was coming in. The tape was speeding up, and we just pretty much flushed straight down. Once we broke and held underneath the VWAP on the 1 minute time frame, I had an opportunity to add one more time. I personally didn't because I was already very comfortable with the sizing I had. So I just held my current position, and then I did trail my stop one more time. Once we got this follow through, I trailed my stop one more time above this wick, and then I just let it do its thing, and it ended up just free falling straight down to the hourly level where I did take profit. I could have targeted the opening print, but I didn't want to get greedy, and we were getting really, really overextended at this point. So that was the last trade I took. So in all, I took 5 trades. We took this one breakout trending setup trade right here for trade number 1. We took this continuation trade over previous day's highs for trade number 2. We took this precision reversal model right here for trade number 3. I took the slingshot bounce right here, or you could say this is more of like a manipulation reversal. It was just a quick scalp for trade number 4. And then we caught the next leg down off of the higher time frame 15 minute for trade number 5. All right, I really hope this video helps you guys. If you have any questions, by the way, about these trades, about the executions, the trade management, leave a comment down in the comment section. I'm happy to answer it. Or if you join the free Discord community, which there should be a link in the description, I can answer your questions a lot more in depth. I also do a free webinar every single month and a few free live trading sessions, so you can join ask your questions in person. I can help you with your system or my system or whatever you guys need help with. So before I go ahead and end this video, like I promised, I'm going to go ahead and log into Tradify and TakeProfitTrader and submit those withdrawals and see how it goes. Okay guys, so I tried to do this video in one fell swoop, but TakeProfitTrader actually did not update my accounts until about midnight. So at that point I was like, all right, we're gonna do this tomorrow. So it is Friday now, but I'm gonna go ahead and do this live login. I've literally never done it on TakeProfitTrader. This is my first time trading with them on a pro account. So go ahead and see what this is all about. All right, they updated my accounts. You can see here, current balance, total withdrawal. Oh, they make this super easy. Okay, this is great. So it literally tells me how much I'm able to withdraw. I can just go ahead and click withdraw. So we're just gonna withdraw the maximum amount, 2,100. Send a request. Your withdrawal is in progress. Wow, that was very easy. Let's go to the next account. This one I only made 2,850, 781, 786. It's the same one. All right, cool. This one I made 7,000, available for withdrawal 2,510. Withdraw 2,500. Send request. Holy shit. Wow, they make this incredibly easy. All right, awesome. Well, that's nice. Here's the Tradify accounts. So finally got back to 10 days on this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and submit a request here. My account, payout request. Select account, amount, 3,000, request payout, and here it is. All right, here. So that will probably take, Tradify is pretty fast. This will probably be done at end of day. So they did say same day withdrawals, but I mean, being able to withdraw after 1 day of trading is still really good. We'll see how fast they process this request, approve it, and actually send the money. I'm sure that'll probably take 2 to 5 business days. Maybe they do same day like Tradify and My Funded Futures. That'd be sick. But nonetheless, I'm very, very happy with this. You know, what more could you really want from a prop firm? All right, so just wanted to include this in the video so you guys know the withdrawal only took 20 minutes to process and pay out to my wallet. Here it is right now, 37.45. Here's the withdrawal stamps and the times. So I requested it, it was like 8:35, paid out by 9. Pretty freaking sweet. If you ask me, here's the emails. Again, with the pro account, it's an 80-20 profit split. If you get moved to Pro Plus, which I don't plan on doing on purpose, it's only after you make $10,000 in profits. And what they do is they actually take 5,000 of your profits. From what I understand and what I've been told, they take 5,000 of your profits and they basically hold it. And if you blow the account, they'll pay you out a percentage of those profits after a certain amount of trading days. But I would rather them not take $25,000 from me across my 5 accounts. So I'm going to keep my profit underneath 10,000, and I'm just going to take withdrawals as frequently as I possibly can. Every day I'm over buffer, a few $1,000s, I'll just take that out, keep trading with them, and I'll just repeat that cycle until eventually I'm like, okay, let's actually scale this thing up a bit. And I'll see if I have a really big day one day. If I do, then I'll just let them take the 5,000 out. And then that way I pretty much have infinite scalability with the accounts. And then also the profit split moves to 90-10 on a Pro Plus account, which is obviously a big benefit, right? Because with withdrawing 2,500 and having 500 taken from it, it's a nice little chunk. So if you can get to 90-10 profit split, you can get over that buffer, then you can really, really do some damage and start scaling up on these accounts, which is my plan ultimately. But I want to get some more withdrawals in the books with the pro account first. So that's my update for you guys. Tradify processed and approved. That will definitely be paid out probably later today and sent to my Rise account. Anyways, guys, much love. Peace.